ルルーシュビ・ブリタニアが命じる。貴様たちは死ね。
Revenge is a dish best served with an epic anime battle, strategic masterminds, and a ton of emotional baggage. Whatever it's driven by, grief, betrayal, or a burning sense of justice, revenge arcs grip anime fans like no other story. Today we are diving deep into the world of vengeance, exploring why revenge is so satisfying, and breaking down the most unforgettable revenge arcs anime has to offer. So buckle up and get ready to root for heroes, question morality, and cheer when and if justice finally comes. We'll see. Let's jump into it. Section 1. Why we love our revenge stories. Now, before we dive into the best revenge arcs in anime, let's talk about why we love these stories so much. There's something deeply satisfying about watching a character take justice into their own hands. Revenge stories tap into that primal urge for payback, the kind that makes us crave seeing the villains get what's coming to them. We all know the saying, an eye for an eye, and in anime, the eye usually comes with a sword, a strategy, or some ridiculously overpowered transformation. These arcs resonate on a psychological level that keeps us hooked. And at its core, revenge is all about restoring balance. When we see a character suffer injustice, for example Thorfinn watching his father get killed in Vinland Saga, or Guts being betrayed in Berserk, we feel the pain with them. It's not just about the action, it's about the emotional weight. We connect with these characters so deeply that it almost feels personal, like someone hurt our closest friend. In real life, justice is slow, complicated, and sometimes non-existent. But in anime, the protagonist becomes justice, and that's the thrill. We get to watch them take control, rewrite fate, and deliver the kind of payback real life doesn't always have. But revenge stories aren't always just about whining. They're also about feeling. The anger, the grief, the frustration, it builds up in the characters, and we, as the audience, absorb every bit of it. Tanjiro, for example, when he fights demons, it's not just about defeating them, it's about facing the pain of losing his family. It's him pushing through grief, turning pain into power, and we're right there with him, cheering him on because his victory feels like our victory. And that's why revenge arcs hit so hard. They reach deep into emotions that we don't always get to express in real life. Revenge can also be a double-edged sword though, a dangerous, all-consuming obsession leading to more suffering. Characters like Thorfinn from Vinland Saga or Angelo from 91 Days start their journey fueled by revenge, but as their story unfolds, we see it slowly consuming them. It eats away at who they once were until they're left wondering, what's left of me if I actually finally get my revenge? That's what makes revenge arcs so complex. They aren't just about pushing the enemy, they force characters, and us, to ask, is it really worth it? Let's be real, part of what makes revenge stories so fun is watching someone who was powerless rise up and take control. There's something undeniably hype about seeing a character go from weak and underestimated to absolutely unstoppable. Whether it's Lelouch outsmarting entire nations in Code Geass, or Kurapika dismantling the Phantom Troop in Hunter x Hunter, revenge arcs turn underdogs into legends, and we eat it up every time. Revenge stories aren't just as simple as, you hurt me, so I hurt you back. No, the best ones are filled with twists, betrayals, and impossible choices. Kurapika's revenge starts noble, but the deeper he falls in, the colder he becomes. And Sasuke in Naruto, his journey blurs the line between justice and darkness, to the point where we don't even know if we should be rooting for him or against him. That's just what makes these arcs so engaging. They make us question everything. Revenge isn't always just about payback, it's about justice, power, transformation, and consequence. It's about characters fighting for control in a world that has wronged them. And let's be honest, nothing feels quite as satisfying as watching an underdog rise, exact their revenge, and rewrite their fate on their own terms. Section 2. The best revenge arcs. Okay, so now we know all about why revenge arcs hit so hard, so let's dive into some of the best revenge arcs in anime. Code Geass.
僕は朱雀。僕はブリタニアをぶっ壊す。
If revenge was a game of 4D chess, then Lelouch v Britannia would be its grand master. Code Geass throws us in a world ruled by the Holy Britannian Empire, an oppressive force that has taken over Japan and renamed it Area 11. But for Lelouch, Britannia's sins are personal. His mother was murdered, his sister was left disabled, and his own father, the Emperor, cast him aside like he was nothing. Lelouch didn't just want revenge, he wanted to burn the empire to the ground. And then fate hands him the power of Geass, a supernatural ability that lets him give absolute commands to anyone. With this, he takes the mask of Zero, a vigilante revolutionary leading the resistance against Britannia. He is meticulous, outsmarting the enemy, playing them like pieces of a chessboard. But as his war escalates, so too do the sacrifices. Friends become enemies, allies are discarded, and Lelouch transforms into the very monster he swore to destroy.
私が第99代ブリタニア皇帝ルルーシュビ・ブリタニアです。
In one of the greatest endings in anime history, Lelouch doesn't just defeat Britannia, he becomes its villain, orchestrating his own assassination so the world can unite against him and find peace. It's the ultimate revenge move. He wins, but at the cost of his own life. Vinland Saga. If Code Geass is about strategic revenge, Vinland is about revenge that slowly destroys the person seeking it. The story follows Thorfinn Karlsefni, a young boy whose world is ripped apart when his father, the noble warrior Thors, is murdered by the ruthless mercenary leader Askeladd. But instead of killing Askeladd outright, Thorfinn is forced to grow up under his father's killer, serving as a soldier in Askeladd's crew just for the chance to challenge him to a fair duel. For years, Thorfinn fights and gets stronger, but no matter how many times he challenges Askeladd, he keeps on losing. His life becomes a vicious cycle of hatred and violence. And the worst part, Askeladd actually starts to care about him, kinda shaping him into a warrior while also keeping him on a leash. And then, in the cruelest twist of fate, Askeladd is killed. Not by Thorfinn, but by the prince. And just like that, Thorfinn's purpose is stolen from him. His entire existence was built on revenge, and now it's gone. What follows is one of the best character transformations in anime. A broken Thorfinn forced to rebuild his life without revenge. He learns that the meaning of life isn't about taking lives or revenge, it's about finding a reason to live beyond hatred. Demon Slayer. Now, Demon Slayer gives us a revenge arc that feels different. Instead of being fueled by hatred, it's fueled by love and resilience. I'm sure that you know the story, but just in case if you're living under a rock, Tanjiro Kamado is just a kind-hearted boy selling charcoal to support his family when everything changes in an instant. He comes home one day to find his entire family slaughtered by demons, with only his little sister Nezuko left alive, but she turns into a demon. Most protagonists in revenge stories harden their hearts, but Tanjiro, he refuses to let the hatred consume him. Instead, he becomes a demon slayer, determined not only to eliminate demons, but to find a cure for Nezuko. His revenge isn't just about getting back at Muzan Kibutsuji, the demon responsible. It's about making sure that no one else suffers the same fate. But when Tanjiro fights, he fights with everything he has. Every battle is intense, personal, and emotional. And when he finally faces off against Muzan, it's years of struggle and loss coming full circle. But unlike most revenge arcs, Tanjiro doesn't let vengeance change him. He fights for the future, not just for the past, and that's what makes his journey so powerful. Dororo.
何事が起こったのか死んではおりませぬが手足どころか目も鼻も皮膚もなくなってしまいました。
If anyone in anime has the most justified reason for revenge, it's Hyakimaru from Dororo. His father, Daigo Kagemitsu, wasn't just a bad dad, he literally sold his newborn son's body to demons in exchange for power. As a result, Hyakimaru is born without eyes, ears, limbs, or skin. Left to die, abandoned like he was nothing. But he survives. Raised by a kind doctor who gives him prosthetic limbs, Hyakimaru grows up and learns that every time he kills a demon, he reclaims a piece of his body. This kicks off a blood-soaked revenge journey, where every battle is as much about reclaiming himself as it is about getting even. But as Hyakimaru fights, he changes. At first, he's numb, mostly emotionless, but as he gains more of his body back, he feels also more pain physically and emotionally. He's faced with the question, is revenge really worth it? By the end, when he finally confronts his father, he makes a shocking choice. He walks away. He realizes that revenge won't bring him peace, only moving forward will. 91 Days.
Vanetti.
If you haven't already watched 91 Days, you should get on it, like right now. It's pure mafia revenge at its finest. Angelo Lagasa had his childhood ripped away when he watched his entire family get murdered by the Venetti crime family. He disappears for years, and when he returns, he's no longer Angelo, he's Avilio, a man with one goal: destroy the Venetti family from the inside. Unlike most revenge-driven protagonists, Avilio isn't impulsive or reckless. He's cold, calculated, and willing to play the long game. He infiltrates the very people who killed his family, earning their trust while slowly dismantling them piece by piece. But as his revenge unfolds, he starts to realize something. When you live for revenge, what happens once it's over?
復讐を果たし、家族の死に報いれば、生きる理由を取り戻せると思った。
By the end, he's gotten what he wants, but he's completely empty. The final scene leaves his fate ambiguous, with him walking off into the unknown. Did he accept his death? Did he just disappear? We don't know, and that's what makes 91 Days so hauntingly beautiful. It's a revenge story where victory feels just as tragic as loss. Tokyo Revengers.
あの日、僕の運命を君が変えた。
え？あの日って、いや、っていうかお前死んで。
君はタイムリープしたんです。
Tokyo Revengers revolves around Takemichi Hanagaki, a guy who feels like he's wasted his life until he learns that his childhood sweetheart and her brother were killed by the ruthless Tokyo Manji gang. Through a mysterious twist, Takemichi is thrown 12 years into the past, giving him a second chance at revenge by changing history itself. Takemichi isn't some unstoppable warrior, though. He's clumsy, cries a lot, and loses fights regularly, but his heart is unmatched. He constantly gets back up, driven purely by friendship, love, and the determination to protect those he cares about. His revenge is captivating, precisely because it's emotionally intense. With every decision the timeline changes, the stakes get higher. Each episode feels like a nail-biter, with viewers constantly wondering, will he manage to rewrite fate, or will his revenge spiral tragically out of control? The struggle of Tokyo Revengers lies in its heartfelt characters and relatable struggle against destiny, proving that sometimes the greatest revenge is simply saving the ones you love. Berserk.
そう何千何万という敵味方の中で唯一お前だけが俺に夢を忘れさせた。
If revenge had a face, it'd be Guts. Once a loyal soldier in a mercenary group known as the Band of the Hawk, Guts had found friendship and even love. But you know the story. Everything collapsed when his leader and friend Griffith betrayed the group during the brutal ritual known as the Eclipse, sacrificing everyone to ascend as a demon god. Guts is left physically and emotionally scarred. He dedicates himself to revenge, cutting a bloody path through nightmarish monsters and unthinkable horrors just to confront Griffith again. What makes Guts' revenge so compelling is that it's not just about vengeance. It's about the tragic cycle of hatred and how deeply that it corrupts. Every victory comes with more darkness, and revenge threatens to consume him entirely, making us wonder if the cost of justice is his own humanity. Guts' struggle is raw, gripping, and devastatingly human, forcing us to ask if vengeance is ever truly satisfying, or just another nightmare that he can't escape.
護衛さんに標的だぜ赤目ちゃん。
葬る。
Akame ga Kill. So, if you love revenge stories with high stakes and ultimate twists, Akame ga Kill is your show. Akame isn't just your typical avenger, she's a highly skilled assassin raised from childhood to kill without hesitation. Her entire life was defined by the Empire's cruelty, her family torn apart and twisted by brutal experiments, leaving Akame for nothing but grief, rage, and a mission for vengeance. As a key member of the Night Raid, a squad dedicated to toppling the corrupt Empire, Akame becomes the cold, precise blade of their rebellion. But her revenge isn't straightforward. Every assassination carries emotional weight, and every victory demands painful sacrifice. What makes Akame's journey especially heartbreaking is her complicated battle against her sister Kurome. Torn apart by the Empire's cruelty, the siblings find themselves on opposite sides of the war, forced into deadly conflict. This struggle emphasizes how revenge doesn't just harm enemies, it often destroys the Avenger too, piece by piece. By the end of her story, Akame is left scarred by her quest, prompting viewers to question the very nature of revenge. Akame ga Kill asks the question, when revenge costs everything you hold dear, does justice still matter? Hunter x Hunter.
つまるところ復讐か。 誰の弔い合戦だ？
クルタ族。
知らねえな。
Revenge often comes with a cost, but nobody learns that lesson harder than Kurapika in Hunter x Hunter. Kurapika's life is destroyed when his clan, the gentle and peaceful Kurta clan, was brutally wiped out by the ruthless thieves known as the Phantom Troop. Driven by grief and fury, he swears to annihilate every member of the troop, no matter what it takes. Kurapika is smart. He doesn't just rush in blindly. Instead, he carefully shapes himself into a precise weapon of revenge, even creating powers specifically meant to hurt and punish his enemies. But what makes Kurapika's journey so gripping is how revenge slowly steals pieces of his soul. Each victory over the Phantom Troop pulls him deeper into darkness, turning him colder, more isolated, and more distant from those he cares about. His obsession begins to overshadow everything else, leaving him wondering if revenge itself is the real villain.
誰でもいい気分なんだ。別にお前でも。
Will he ever find peace, or will he lose everything, including his humanity? When your purpose is revenge, what's left of you when that purpose is fulfilled?
どうして一体誰がこんなことを。
愚かなる弟よ。
Naruto. If you watched Naruto, then you already know that Sasuke Uchiha's revenge story isn't just iconic, it's heartbreaking. Sasuke's life spirals out of control after his older brother Itachi brutally massacres their entire clan. And from that moment, Sasuke's existence becomes an obsessive quest for vengeance against the brother that he once admired and truly loved. He leaves behind his friends, his home, and eventually even his humanity, teaming up with the villains, betraying comrades, and descending into darkness. But what happens when Sasuke finally confronts and defeats Itachi? He discovers the tragic truth. His brother wasn't the bad guy. He was forced into his actions by the corruption of the ninja world itself. This revelation doesn't free Sasuke. It pushes him deeper into rage, shifting his revenge toward Konoha, his own village, the people he feels betrayed him and his family. The real tragedy isn't the revenge he achieves, it's the emotional emptiness that's left afterwards.
これがイタチの真実だ。
嘘だ。そんなの嘘に決まってるだろう。
It's only through Naruto's unwavering friendship that Sasuke finds redemption, learning the ultimate lesson that revenge never heals wounds, it only deepens them. Sasuke's journey is unforgettable because it shows that revenge isn't salvation, it's a dark path, often harder to leave than to walk. Section 3. What makes a great revenge story? Alright, so we've covered some of anime's greatest revenge arcs, but what makes these stories hit so hard? Why do they stick with us long after the credits roll? At the core of every unforgettable revenge arc is a powerful motive that drives the protagonist's journey. Take Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. His relentless pursuit of Askeladd isn't just about vengeance, it's fueled by the trauma of watching his father die in front of him. Likewise, Lelouch from Code Geass channels his rage over betrayal and injustice into a revolution that shapes the entire world itself. These deeply personal motives make their quests for revenge feel not only justified, but necessary. For revenge stories to resonate, even morally questionable actions need to feel understandable. Kurapika's ruthless mission to annihilate the Phantom Troop stems from witnessing his entire clan's slaughter. His descent into obsession feels tragic and yet justified. Similarly, Angelo from 91 Days methodically dismantles a crime family, a brutal and yet compelling path shaped by his own devastating loss. When anime shows us enough emotional depth and backstory, we can't help but root for these characters, even when they're walking dangerously close to the edge. But what makes these stories truly powerful is that revenge isn't the only focus. Anime excels in giving revenge-driven characters layers of humanity. Instead of mindless avengers, we get characters like Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, who balances his drive for justice with compassion and love for his sister. His kindness makes his struggle feel deeper. His journey isn't just about vengeance, but healing too. Sasuke's path in Naruto is equally complex, fueled by betrayal and grief. His internal struggles make his quest both tragic and relatable. These flaws and vulnerabilities create emotional depth, ensuring that viewers stay invested. Of course, no great revenge story is complete without obstacles, and anime thrives on pushing its characters over to the brink. Revenge isn't supposed to be easy. It's a brutal, exhausting path littered by hardship. Just look at Guts from Berserk. His journey to confront Griffith is a relentless battle filled with pain, heartbreak, and mental torment. Similarly, Hyakimaru from Dororo faces a gauntlet of demons to reclaim his stolen body parts, a powerful symbol of how revenge can strip away not just your peace, but pieces of yourself. These grueling struggles make every step feel hard-earned and meaningful. What also sets anime revenge arcs apart is their creativity. Classic themes are often mixed with wild twists that keep the viewers hooked. Tokyo Revengers, for example, throws time travel into its gang war narrative, adding unpredictable outcomes with every altered timeline. Meanwhile, Hyakimaru's journey to reclaim his body parts is a unique spin on the revenge formula, ensuring the story never feels repetitive. And lastly, a satisfying conclusion is key. Even if the protagonist doesn't fully achieve their goal, Thorfinn's journey in Vinland Saga ends without him getting revenge, but his personal growth delivers emotional closure. Conversely, Angelo's revenge in 91 Days succeeds, and yet it leaves him empty, proving that victory doesn't always bring peace. Both outcomes feel earned, showing us that emotional payoff matters more than simply winning. Above all, the best revenge arcs thrive on unexpected twists that keep us guessing. Betrayals, revelations, and moral dilemmas keep these stories intense and unforgettable. Kurapika's complicated path in Hunter x Hunter is constantly shifting as new threats emerge. Sasuke's confrontation with Itachi turns his motives upside down, transforming his rage into heartbreak. These surprises keep viewers hooked, eagerly waiting for what's next. In the end, anime's revenge stories go beyond just simple payback. They explore themes of justice, obsession, redemption, and the emotional toll of vengeance. Done right, they become unforgettable narratives that strike a deeply human chord within us all. And there you have it. Revenge stories captivate us because they speak to our most human emotions. What's your favorite anime revenge arc? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.